Today, in the part of the world that I come from, a lot of patients are beginning to develop drug-resistant TB because of failures of the systems that we have put into place. Sometimes our governments have not bought the right kind of medicines. Sometimes our clinicians have not been able to put patients on the proper treatment. Sometimes patients have not been told that they need to be on treatment and adhere to that treatment, so drug resistance develops. If you are in a place where there's a lot of HIV at the same time, you end up with a lot of problems.
Today I want to support the call for common action to fight the pandemic. This is our collective responsibility, as it is for many global public health issues, not just as a company or an industry, but also as national health authorities, as NGOs and foundations. We have to pool our collective strengths, as well as our dedication and our motivation to find solutions that are affordable for every patient. We still don't know whether H1N1 is going to be a severe pandemic crisis, but we have to be prepared. And to act responsibly, we all have to play our part. And that's the reason why today we intend to donate 100 million doses of influenza vaccine to the World Health Organization to help developing countries face the influenza pandemic. And the flexible donation is really to help the WHO address the needs of those most vulnerable populations.
As a follow-up of the ministerial meeting in Beijing, MDR-TB was prioritized in the list of resolution in 2009 World Health Assembly. The resolution was proposed by China's delegates and reviewed and approved by the member states. Currently, in addition to the basic measures, new technologies, new methodologies, as well as new model for TB control are undergoing.
Two of the themes that came through from last night, from those of you that were there, for those of you that weren't, it won't come as a surprise, is a focus on a need for new products, research and development, and a focus on the need for delivery, health system strengthening, et cetera. And those are really the two themes, the yin and the yang, that we want to pull through into this session, but take it down to the country level. And we've got a fantastic panel to help us do that.
On the idea front, industry is important, but not that important. Industry needs to share ideas along with everybody else. On the know-how front, industry is absolutely crucial, because as good a scientist as you might find in academia, that person just doesn't understand the nuances of drug formulation or, medicinal chemistry or whatever. And then on the latter end, which is about manufacturing and distribution, absolutely industry has to be a critical partner, or else it's just not going to happen.
I'm looking for support to manage innovation in a way that whatever money we put in is used better, and I would really like to give that message that many times we have a tough time spending our R&D money because the system is not ready to absorb it. And the moment you bring global partnership into it, you just see it gives us the development experience and it gives us more return on the investment we make. And so that is really important. Now the question is, how do we manage these relationships effectively, sustainably, to the satisfaction of all, and then there is a win-win for everyone.
I think in the fight against all these challenges of global health, there's a new regiment, if you will, of armies coming to the scene, which is the emerging, fast-growing, vibrant, research-based life science industry in countries like China. And this resource can be and should be, but so far hasn't been very much bring to bear on these challenges. And then I think with this new participation of this new R&D resource, to use it in a more cost-effective, capital-efficient way, and also with the support from countries like India and countries like China, which now have some financial resource and intellectual resource, we probably can bring these development, drug discovery and development program to be not only something which is good for the benefit of humankind and also financially viable thing to do.
I think that tuberculosis is a very fruitful field that put a challenge do the whole conception of this interaction. It involves a system approach, human resource, institutional capability. If you don't deal with that with a systemic approach, we will fail.
I guess the key question is, what's the role of government in all of this? And my own sense from the South African experience is that many of these have happened almost by accident, or by goodwill, or by people knowing each other. I think what we need to do is find synergies that we can institutionalize between what government needs to do and what other players should be doing. What's clear, certainly from the current economic crisis, is that governments must lead. And we need to see the leadership from governments. Now, it's very clear that, certainly in China, and I think we have some examples from India, that there is strong leadership from government.
I think Lesotho has come out very, very clearly and said, in the field of HIV and AIDS, in the field of TB, the government has a sole responsibility of delivering care and treatment to patients. And no one else has the right actually to do it. If you work with governments, it may take you a little bit long to set up the good systems, but the reality is it will be a sustainable program. So our success also is the political will. It took us time to explain to the politicians, and when it was clear to them that this TB is not a joke, it is a national priority. You cannot, if you disagree with the clinicians and you don't want to be put in hospital, you will be arrested and you'll be put in hospital. It's as simple as that. It's a national emergency.
Looking at our experience in Southern Africa, as the minister just said, one of the things that's striking is that people have been diagnosing this particular disease for a very long time, but there's not a lot of there on the delivery front. You have people, for example, streaming back from South Africa into Lesotho, I'm just giving that example, who are sick and then going to households that can be rapidly saturated with drug-resistant TB. We need a strategy that links the need for new diagnostics, for new therapeutics, but with a commitment to providing the standard of care that we have now to those who need it now.
But even with this success, we are worried of a new form of TB, and that may be not so new as MDR-TB. And this issue is reaching far from the medical system now. For now, this issue is a national security issue for the country.